Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new week, new edition of Houston Sports Weekly. You know what it's all about, our weekly sports podcast here on KPRC2, KPRC2 Plus, and, of course, click2houston.com. Hi, everybody. Sports Director Randy McAvoy hanging out with you here in segment number one. Segment two, I'm going to hand off to KPRC2 reporter Ari Alexander, and he's going to talk more, actually, football. And he's going to run some of his interview with former Episcopal High School star receiver and now current Miami Dolphins standout receiver, Jalen Waddle. He caught up with him recently. He's going to run some of that interview coming up in segment two of the podcast. So we're going to be with you for the next 25, 30 minutes or so. Hope you enjoy that. I'm going to get you caught up here in segment one with what's happening in the world of sports here in H-Town. And specifically, we'll get into some Astros talk as well because it has been a busy week. If you're listening or watching to this one today as it drops on this Friday, Astros are in Game 2 tonight with the Seattle Mariners, part of that four-game series at Minute Maid Park. And then they will call it a break. They'll head to the All-Star break, regroup, reset, and get going at the end of the week again in this baseball season. It's been a wild season, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the injury to Jose Altuve. That went down earlier this week at Minute Maid Park, and we've got some sound we're going to roll from some of the guys at Minute Maid, including General Manager Dana Brown. Brown spoke to the media on Wednesday at Minute Maid Park. He was busy with draft meetings, but met with the group early in the game, actually, upstairs in the press box. We'll run some of that interview here in just a few moments as well. So here's what's happening. The Rockets are out in Las Vegas, if you didn't know, after a busy couple of days of free agency. We think they're done maybe. Don't know for sure. The free agent frenzy hit last Friday, a week ago, at 5 p.m. Central. You knew that from our coverage, where they made some moves, including getting Fred VanVleet. Dylan Brooks are the two main guys. They made a couple more moves as well and shipped out a couple players. But VanVleet and Brooks are coming to H-Town to join the Rockets. Brooks, lockdown defensive player, second-team All-NBA defense, so we know he's going to D up on that end of the floor and really bring a presence defensively for this basketball team that they need. But there's also some concerns, not only on his contract, a 4-year contract worth $80 million, so a lot of money going to Brooks. And this is a guy that, you know, you look at his track record, he's had some issues with internally with teams, a lot of suspensions out there. Just a little bit of controversy. You wonder if it'll fit well here in Houston or if he'll just stick to his game, play defense, and hopefully improve his offense. So his offense, it's been criticized a little bit. His shot percentage, field goal percentage, has actually gone down the last couple of years. So he saw a little bit lesser role in the offensive approach there with the Grizzlies and didn't get the looks that he was used to. Still didn't shoot the ball well, but he still averaged 14 a game. So, but he's got to get that percentage up and be more consistent with the shot. And they hope maybe coming to a new place, new set of coaching eyes on you, the new staff for the Rockets that was announced by Ime Udoka, and maybe that will jumpstart the offensive game for Dylan Brooks. But defensively, we know he will bring it. And I think he's going to rub off on some of these young players, hopefully, and bring the attitude that they need. Fred VanVleet now. Here's a great story from a guy that went undrafted. So he came out undrafted, chip on his shoulder, and he's maintained that chip. And I think that's what's helped him get from here to here. If you're watching, you see where my hands are. So rising, if you're listening, his game is shot up. He's a superstar now. Offensively, plays pretty good defense as well. He could be a point guard. He can play off the ball. He could do whatever you really need offensively. He's already understand training out in California with Jalen Green. I don't know if any other Rockets are out there with him, but it's good to see Van Vliet and at least Jalen Green starting to build some chemistry together that they're going to need when training camp opens and, of course, when the regular season opens coming up this fall. But he's a player. They gave him, 3 years, $130 million, if I'm correct on that, or 3 years or 4 years. I think it's 3 years, $130 million. So hopefully he will pan out and be the guy they wanted. Ime Udoka has got a staff in place now. But everything's shifting out to Las Vegas now. And, again, if you're watching or listening on this Friday, the NBA Summer League actually starts out in Las Vegas. And all the rookies will be out there. We're going to see the Rockets rookies out there as well and see kind of how that plays out as they get experience out there. I think Jabari Smith Jr. is also going to be out there, but Amin Thompson will be there, Cam Whitmore, and some others as well. Nate Hitton, the former Houston Cougar, is actually added to the Rockets Summer League squad, but they'll be playing several teams, including the Spurs. We'll see Victor playing at least a little bit out there. Always a lot of attention on the Summer League, NBA Summer League out there in Vegas to see some of the young talent that is heading out there. All right, Astros now, before we get to some sound. Astros underway, Game 2 of their 4-game series with Seattle. They've had a good 10 days to get back in the race last weekend, taking 3 out of 4 from the first-place Texas Rangers. How about that? Got it to within 2 games after the win on Wednesday. And, again, I'm taping this Wednesday night, so I'm not sure what the outcome on Thursday would be. But they're back in the race, and that's actually a good thing. And they've done it with a banged-up situation with injuries. Pitching staff, we know that story. Jose Altuve, the story again, left oblique discomfort. He suffered that on Tuesday and has an MRI, and hopefully he'll make progress, not miss too much time. But I do not expect to see Altuve this weekend. Then he'll get the All-Star break and then be reevaluated post-All-Star break. So right now we're going to listen in to the interview with Astros GM Dana Brown. A lot of topics, including the status of Jose Altuve. Check it out.
So Altuve, he's going to be evaluated even more tomorrow. But he came in today feeling a lot better. So we don't think it's the same type of injury as the other oblique that he had. So that was good news. And so we're in no rush to try to rush him back prior to the break, but at the end of the day, we feel a lot better today, and we'll know even more tomorrow. But we feel confident that it's not as bad as the first one.
Is he on the IL?
IL, we don't know until probably tomorrow afternoon, but we'll circle back. But even if it's IL, we thought about it. It's he would be back miss 1 day. So we'll just have to work through it roster-wise. And we'll talk about it more with Dusty this evening.
What side does the oblique hurt before?
No, it's the opposite side, so that's a positive thing. And so, and it's not as bad, so it's actually a good thing.
So he did have an MRI?
Altuve?
That's what they told us earlier.
Yeah.
He had one, already results from that?
Well, we're going to talk about it, and after the game, I'll meet with the doctor. I've been really busy with all the draft stuff today, pretty much consumed with the draft stuff today, going over probably 700 players. So I'm just getting caught up to speed.
What's the level of concern with Javier? Is there any concern injury-wise, and then mechanics-wise, is there something you're looking at?
No, so I just think with Javier, and this is his first full season as a starter, I think guys go through, tired times, and they get dead arm, and they just don't have the zip that they usually have on their stuff. And so at the end of the day, I think him getting a little bit of a break is what we're trying to talk about now. Could be a good thing. As I said, a full year of starting, there's 162 games in a season. It's a full grind, and our guys have grit. They try to go through things. And so we just may need to give them a little bit of a break.
Yander Diaz has a couple of homers today. I know you'd be a champion for him. What do you think about his performance in first half and his playing time going forward?
Always excited about young players like Yander. It's a positive thing for the club. It's a positive thing for the organization, positive thing for the fans to see your young players develop and right before your eyes, and to go big fly twice today, it's big. And, of course, it's big for the outcome of the game. It puts us in a position where we got a chance to win it.
just to clarify on Altuve, even if he doesn't go on the IL, would you expect him to play before the All-Star break?
No, I don't think there's any rush to bring him back. I've talked about this before with the obliques of some of the other players. These injuries are really complicated, and so sometimes the best thing is rest. And so I think right now it would be my opinion, a strong opinion, as to just giving him some rest and let it play out. And the good thing is it's not as bad. That's what we thought.
When do you think Brantley's going to be able to start baseball activities again?
Yeah, Brantley, good question. So he had a little bit of a setback, some discomfort, but at the end of the day, it's nowhere near like it was before. We have to shut him down for a couple of weeks. We think it's like a 3 or 4 day thing. Let him rest a little bit. We tried to get him amped up a little bit to come back, and as soon as we got him going and ramping him up a little bit, he feels a little bit of discomfort, and we're going to continue to push that. Everything is clear though. He's have no problems other than a little bit of discomfort. And instead of rushing him, we're going to take our time, and it's a 3 or 4 days thing. And he could be back to activity.
Is it any concern that when you have tried to ramp him up, you've tried to shut him down?
No, not really, because it's almost like he's got to go back to a spring training thing again. And soon as you start to add a little bit more intensity, you have these issues where, you know what, you get tired, you get fatigued, you get discomfort. And so the beauty is it's nowhere near like it was before. So that's a positive thing. So now it's more of a 3 or 4 day thing, where before it's more of a 10 to a 14 day thing.
All right, that is General Manager Dana Brown of the Astros meeting with the media on Wednesday at Minute Maid Park, addressing the oblique situation for Jose Altuve, the second time he's dealt with that this summer. He went through it in June, where he missed 4 games and was able to come back, unlike Yordan Alvarez, who's had it, and he's missed several weeks now and won't be back till after the All-Star break. So we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully good news as the days kind of build up now and they stack them through the weekend and through the All-Star break coming up next week. All right, we're going to take a break here on Houston Sports Weekly. That's the latest on the Rockets and the Astros. When we come back, I'm going to hand it off to Ari Alexander. He's got a cool interview with former Episcopal wide receiver, high school wide receiver, and current Dolphins wideout, standout Jalen Waddle when Houston Sports Weekly continues. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Houston Sports Weekly, a great discussion on the Astros and everything going on as we head into the All-Star break in Segment 1. We're going to be talking about the NFL in Segment 2 and a bit about the Texans, and also about some of these players that the Houston area is pumping out. Some really, really good guys that are back in Houston training. We'll show you our interview with Jalen Waddle. We'll just run it straight through. The camera's going to cut to me. I'm going to ask Jalen a question. The camera's going to cut to Jalen. Jalen's going to answer the question. Great to have Jalen Waddle. You can find the interview exclusively with KPRC2. A little bit of the backstory of that. So Jalen works out with a trainer from the Houston area, a wide receiver specialist by the name of Delphonte Diamond, who works with guys like CeeDee Lamb, who we talked to last year along with Delphonte, Tank Dell on the Texans. A lot of the Texans receiving core, if not all of them at this point, have done at least some sessions with Delphonte. He's actually up in Dallas right now working with the whole Carolina Panthers receiving core at the moment. So he's a specialist. He's got a lot of NFL players that believe in him, guys like Deebo Samuel and all the big name guys that I've mentioned. So Jalen Waddle was spending most of his offseason back in Miami. He came back home to Houston for a few days. He went to Tyreek Hill's kids camp as one of the counselors. Some big names there. It was Tyreek, who's, and obviously an all-pro. Jalen, NFL record setter as a rookie and led the league last year in yards per catch. Xavier Howard, an all-pro cornerback who's from here in Houston, from Wheatley, and Devon Achane, the third-round pick running back for the Dolphins. So there was some star power at that camp. And I talked to Jalen, and he told me that he didn't really anticipate spending much time in Houston for the rest of the summer, but he came back to get some work in with Del Fonte, with Coach Diamond, and we had a sit down, so you'll see that here shortly, talking about a number of different topics. His quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, which is a big topic generally around the NFL, just the differing opinions on how good is Tua. And it seems, like some of the analysts or the people that talk about the game more, that do a little bit more of what I do, don't like him as much. And then you talk to the players, and not just players on his team, but guys that know him around the league, and there's a little bit more love for him. And you'll see what Jalen said about why he likes Tua and why guys really like playing with Tua. And then we just talked about different things. I think the most fun thing is the Waddle. Right? He's got the touchdown dance. It's great. And so we talked about that, the history of that. And so here is the full conversation with myself and Dolphins star wide receiver Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle, the hometown hero, returns. What's it like being back in Houston for a little bit, get some work in?
Man, it feel good. It's always good to come home, work out here. I'm homegrown, man, so anytime I come back home and work with, guys I really built the foundation with, it's always special.
You're sweating. I'm sweating. It's hot out here. How much does this help you playing in that Miami heat when you're working in this?
Man, it helps a lot, man. Ain't nothing like that Texas heat. So you're going back, Florida can get pretty hot, but this dry heat ain't nothing like it.
Del Fonte and you guys have been working together for a long, long time. What do you like about what he does?
I think he just focus on the little things that's going to get you open in the game. You might not see why you're doing it, but come game time, you be like, dang, I worked that move in the summer with D. So little things like that, he really do a good job of breaking down the game and, holding you accountable. If you mess up, he going to tell you about it. If you do good, he going to tell you about it. So things like that is real good in the trainer. And he hold everybody to the same standard, whether you high school to NFL All-Pro. He train you all the same.
Tyreek, when we were at the camp, said he believes you're a Pro Bowl, All-Pro guy. What would that take for you to make that leap this year to get that kind of recognition?
It just take me being consistent, man. Being on a great team with a lot of great weapons is always fun, and we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of good things with the ball. So at the end of the day, it's all about winning, but it's just being consistent and taking it day by day and game by game.
You've made some changes to your game. Your rookie year, you set an NFL record. What did that mean to you, that 104 catches, no one's ever done that as a rookie?
At the time, it really didn't sink in to me while I was playing. But now I look at it, just being in the NFL and seeing how hard, and how competitive it is, it's definitely a huge accomplishment to have an NFL record with all these great receivers that came through the league.
You changed some things. You go from 100-plus catches, but a sub-10 yards per reception, to leading the league in yards per reception. What was different about this season where you were just a deeper target?
I think it was just the mindset. Mike came in and really, harps on Yak. So having a guy like Cheetah, who's a Yak monster, you don't got no choice but to, learn from him and, soak up all that game that he's given.
What have you been working on this offseason to make the change for year 3?
Just stay more consistent, homing in on the details, the little details that, separate the good from the great receivers. So things like that, man. Staying more consistent with focusing on hand-eye coordination. So little stuff, not getting too excited when you know you're going to get the ball.
When you were at Alabama, do you remember who you caught your first touchdown pass from?
I want to say Tua. Yeah. Tua.
When you were in the NFL, do you remember who you caught your first touchdown pass from?
Tua. You already know it. The big ones.
Like knowing that you guys have had that long relationship, and it's built from college, from your first touchdown catch with him, all the way through the NFL?
It's great. Tua's a great guy. We got, years in with us playing together, so that's always good. Being, familiar with your quarterback, especially going from a college game to an NFL game. So it's kind of like learning how to ride a bike again. Us just playing back and getting kind of it's fun, but you don't have to learn, quarterback tendencies and what he like because you already played with him.
There's some differing opinions around the league about him. You've known him for such a long time. You've played with him for such a long time. What about Tua to you makes him special?
His ball placement. I think everybody sees it. Ball placement, knowing exactly where to put the ball, where his receivers can not just catch it, but catch it and run with it. So that's what makes Tua Tua.
I know we've talked about this a little bit before, but I kind of want to get into it when it's all looking nice. You broke out the waddle. How did that first come about, the touchdown dance?
So shout out Christian Wilkins and Jalen Phillips. Just joking around, little rookie hazing, and they just, picking with me and JP was rookies, so not him. But Christian just, joking around. He's the jokester on the team, and he, making fun of me, just waddling around and stuff like that. And he was like, bro, like, you should do it in the game one time or whatever. So it just happened, flowed, and it stuck, man.
And you watch the World Cup. Ashraf Hakimi comes out there, does the waddle after he scores this massive goal on a world stage. How does it feel to know that the whole world knows about the waddle?
Man, it's great, but I got to, give, thanks to our team. Without us winning and getting that recognition of, people honing in and really watching us play, it wouldn't be, people tuning in with all the great guys that we got and all the great players that we have to make people watch.
Now that you've been in the league for a couple of years, you've played against most of the better corners, the better safeties. Is there a guy that you play against that you think is underrated that doesn't necessarily get enough attention?
I said one guy that I really like a lot is Petrie from the Texans. When we played them, man, he was all over the place. So I don't think he gets enough recognition. I think he had a great rookie season, and not enough people talk about it.
Yeah, so it's good praise. I think Texans fans are going to be excited about that.
Yeah,
what was it like playing against your hometown team?
It was good. We played them, I want to say twice. We played them twice, my rookie season and then my sophomore season. It was weird at first, hometown team growing up. You was a Texas fan, huge Andre Johnson fan. So it was weird at first, but, it's kind of like once it's out there, it's all competitive.
Yeah, what time does that turn off for you? Where is it right when the clock starts, when it's just like, okay, cool, I'm on the Dolphins, I'm locked in, let's go?
Yeah, definitely. Probably the week of preparation before, you like, all right, all that good stuff out the way. It's time to go to work.
So once you're starting to get in the books, that's kind of when you're just getting focused on that. What does Houston mean to you, that this is the place that raised you, that turned you into the success that you are now?
It means a lot, man. Houston, that's where I learned everything from the way I played, from the players that growing up came out of the Houston area, all the great legends and high school stars that we have here, athletes. It's nothing like Houston. So I think it just, made me the player that I am today.
What's your favorite play you had at Episcopal?
Favorite play? Oh, you're taking me back some days. That was a while ago. Favorite play? I had a crazy play maybe my sophomore or junior year over the middle. I spun out and ran. It was one of my better plays, man. One of my better plays.
What about in the league so far?
Probably. I tell you which one stuck out the most, even though we lost, was in London. I've never been international. We played in London my rookie year, and I got the chance to get in the end zone. So that one was special. I kept that ball, so that was a special one.
All right, so last one for you. Pre-game, what is on the Jalen Waddle playlist?
Oh, man, it depends. 1 o'clock games, I'm going to go R&B vibe. It's too early for, little hip-hop. So I like some R&B early in the 1 o'clock games. 8 o'clock games, we're gonna go with Baby, Gunna, Thug, Lucci. They're gonna be kind of in rotation for me.
You're a Houston guy. You're bringing up all Atlanta rappers.
Yeah.
Houston in there?
Sometimes I know when I played Houston, I definitely jammed some Houston, man. R.I.P. Big Pokey too. He just passed, Houston legend.
And tomorrow's June 27th.
You already know it.
All right, Jalen, thank you so much,
Most
man.
definitely.
Much appreciated.
Yes, sir. Most definitely appreciate y'all.
All right.
Yeah, great to hear from Jalen. Good to get to talk to him. Really appreciate his time. I know that he's not the biggest on doing a whole bunch of interviews and hyping himself up and doing all that, but it was great to go see him work out. I mean, he's just so impressively quick and fast in person, and you can see why he's had back-to-back 1,000-yard years in the NFL and just what makes him such a good player. I thought it was interesting that he named Texans safety Jalen Waddle named Jalen Petrie as the most underrated player that he's had cover him in the league. And so you'll see it this Sunday. Jalen Petry's reaction to Jalen Waddle. So I interviewed Petry a couple days after I interviewed Waddle. I pulled up the clip of Waddle talking about Petry on the phone and showed Jalen Petry what Jalen Waddle had to say about him, and you'll get to see Jalen Petry's reaction of what Jalen Waddle, who is, I believe by many, considered to be one of the better receivers in the NFL. He was 7th in the league in receiving yards last year. He's generally considered to be probably, if not the best, a top 3, number 2 wide receiver in the league, and he'd be a number 1 wide receiver on so many teams if they didn't have Tyreek Hill, although obviously Hill opened some things up for him, and he told me, as you saw there, how much Hill helps him and how much he's glad to learn from Tyreek Hill. And I saw them interact at the camp together. Those guys like having fun, joke about racing each other all the time. Both are blazingly fast. They they want to race, but it's not really smart for them to go full burn on their hamstrings in the offseason at a kids camp, so I don't think we're going to actually see a race. But great to see Jalen. He went straight to the Nike headquarters the day after we had the interview and got to tour that. So he's having a fun offseason. You can see he's just put on some muscle, and he looks good. He looks fast, and I'm hoping that he has another great season and another healthy season for the Miami Dolphins. That's it for this week's edition of Houston Sports Weekly. You can check us out on TV, of course, at KPRC2, online at click2houston.com, and on this app, KPRC2+. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.